Hi, Cooper Clever 1972 back with another video for you. Entire DVD and Blu-ray collection, part 21. So I thought with this particular video, we would do some horror box sets. I have three right here that I'm going to do. The first one is a Giallo collection, or is it Giallo or Giallo? There's four movies. Short Night of Glass Dolls, which I enjoyed. Who Saw Her Die? Bloodstained Shadow, and The Case of the Bloody Iris. I can't really remember these movies except for Short Night of Glass Dolls. Um, the reason why I can't remember them is because I saw them quite a few years back, and yeah, so that's. But I remember the ending of Short Night of Glass Dolls, and I thought that was really shocking and terrifying. I don't know if this guy right here. I don't know if he's a really famous actor, but these are from Anchor Bay. They're good company. They've released some good stuff. But the ending is what I like about this particular movie. Yeah, Ingrid Thulon's in this. She's been in Bergman, of course, and it says The Damned as well, which I maybe I knew at some point when I watched The Damned that I showed you earlier in my Italian collection was Visconti, who directed that. Um, wonder if I should, maybe I don't know if I should read these. Um, I'm just looking at this, seeing if anything interesting jumps out at me. Barbara Brock. You know what? I'm going to read this to you. I'll at least read this one to you. This is Short Night of Glass Dolls. The corpse of reporter Gregory Moore, John Sorrell of Lizard in a Woman's Skin, is found in a Prague plaza and brought to the local morgue. But Moore is actually alive, trapped inside his dead body and desperately recalling how the mysterious disappearance of his beautiful girlfriend, Barbara Bach, The Spy Who Loved Me. And I said, remember before the Bond films, I said she's, I don't know if she currently is, but I think she was at least the wife of Ringo Starr. Led to a terrifying conspiracy of depravity. Can a reporter with no visible signs of life solve this perverse puzzle before he meets his ultimate deadline? Ingrid Thulon, the damned Salon Kitty, co-stars in this unusual and startling 1971 Giallo, also known as Paralyzed and Malestrana, that marked the debut of writer-director Aldo Laga, Who Saw Her Die, and features a superb score by the legendary Ennio Morricone. His most famous score, of course, would be Good, Bad, the Ugly. He's a legend, in music world, in the soundtrack world for movies. The word Giallo, yellow, refers to the controversial series of savage Italian suspense thrillers that shocked international audiences throughout the 60s and 70s. The Giallo collection presents these rarely seen classics, fully restored from original vault elements and filled with all the explicit sex, graphic violence, and startling twist endings that have come to define this brutish, stylish genre. So this is Strange Days of the Short Night, an all-new 11-minute interview with director Aldo Lara, and a theatrical trailer and Aldo Lara filmography. I do have a director. I have a bunch of his movies. I guess he's a Giallo director, and that's what's his name, Dario Argento. And I'll show you his films when we get to that point. So what's the one that follows? I don't know how these. I think it's. I'm trying to do these in order. So, oh yeah, so I am right. George Lazenby, another Bond person, who played James Bond. Only one James Bond movie. One of my 3 favorite James Bond movies, on Her Majesty's Secret Service. He's in this other film in the box set called Who Saw Her Die. And I'll read this. I'm going to read all 4 of them. The life of a Venice sculptor, former James Bond, George Lazenby, of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, is torn apart when his visiting young daughter, Nicoletta Elmi of Deep Red is Dario Argento, and Twitch of the Death Nerve, is found murdered. But when the police are unable to find the killer, the grieving father's own investigation uncovers a high-level conspiracy of sexual perversion and violence. What depraved compulsions led to the murder of this child? And most horrifying of all, who saw her die? Adolphe Celi, Thunderball, that's James Bond. That's Sean Connery. That's the one I said was, I thought, the worst James Bond film that Sean Connery was in. And Anita Strindberg, the Antichrist. Co-star, I do have 2 films called Antichrist. One is the famous Lars von Trier one that's banned in a lot of countries. Just recently got banned in a lot of countries. It's Criterion. And there's an earlier Antichrist. I haven't watched it. Maybe I watched a little bit of it. I'm not sure. And I think that's the one they're referring to here. Co-star in this disturbing Giallo, directed by Aldo Lara, Short Night of Glass Dolls, Night Train Murders, and featuring a remarkable score by Ennio Morricone. The word Giallo, yellow, refers to the controversial series of Savage. I read that. So I read all that. Death in Venice, an all-new 11-minute interview with director Aldo Lara, theatrical trailer, and a filmography of the director. So we go on to the next one, Bloodstained Shadow. When a young college professor, Lena Capoliccio, of House with Laughing Windows, returns home to visit his Catholic priest brother, Craig Hill, prominent members of the community begin to be stalked and slaughtered by an unknown killer. Can the brothers uncover the identity of this deranged fiend, even while they are being tortured by their own nightmares of an unspeakable childhood trauma? Directed by Antonio Bido, Watch Me When I Kill, and known in Italy as Salamante Nero, this suspenseful 1978 Giallo co-stars Stefani Cassinia, Suspiria, and features one of the last scores performed by the legendary band Goblin, Suspiria, Deep Red. And I believe Goblin did the score to Dawn of the Dead for George Romero. And I do like Night of the Living Dead, but I think Dawn of the Dead is a really good movie as well. The original one by Romero. And ditto for Night of the Living Dead. And it just talks again about what the word Giallo means. It's got Salamanto Bido, an all-new 13-minute interview with director Antonio Bido, and a trailer and a filmography of the director. So these are not loaded with special features by any standard. This one is called The Case of the Bloody Iris. When 2 women are viciously slain in a luxury high-rise, a beautiful young model, Edwig Fennick of $5 for an August moon, moves into one of their vacated apartments and soon finds that she is now being stalked by the mysterious killer. The suspects include her ex-husband, a member of a group sex cult, a predatory lesbian neighbor, the deformed son of a sinister widow, and even the building's handsome architect, George Hilton of Massacre Time, who suffers from a paralyzing fear of blood. Can she expose the masked maniac with a taste for luscious woman and depraved murder before she becomes his next victim? Directed by Giuliano Carnamio under the pseudonym Anthony Ascot, and written by Ernesto Gastaldi, screenwriter of such notorious thrillers as Torso and The Whip in the Body, This 1972 shocker is also known as erotic blue, and what are those strange drops of blood doing on Jennifer's body? It's got a theatrical trailer, alternate stabbing scene, and a filmography of the director. So that's Giallo collection for you. Next up, I know they had these things on Blu-ray, but I'm perfectly satisfied with this. It's the Alien quadrilogy. I did show in what was called some pickups and some shout-outs video that I did maybe a few months ago. I picked up Alien vs. Predator. I haven't watched that, but interesting tidbit for you. Sigourney Weaver, I believe, did not want. She did not want like another alien to fight the famous alien of the Alien series, I think, and but eventually that's what happened. So in this particular box set, you get 8 discs. Wait a minute, 9 discs. The first disc is Alien, and the second is oh wait a minute, I'm sorry. Disc 1 and Disc 2 also they have both different versions of the films, both with commentaries. They have the '79 version, and they have the director's cut from 2003. The disc 2 is nine new in-depth featurettes, deleted and extended scenes, and Sigourney Weaver screen tests, and much more. Aliens, the third disc, 86 theatrical version with audio commentary, 91 special edition with audio commentary, and Alien, the first one, Alien, of course, probably everybody knows, was directed by Ridley Scott. Second one, Aliens, is directed by James Cameron. Disc 4 is 11 new in-depth featurettes, original treatment by James Cameron, multi-angle animatic to final scene study, and much more. And then Alien 3, Disc 5, has the 92 theatrical version with audio commentary, and the 2003 special edition with audio commentary. This, of course, was David Fincher's debut with feature movies, and it was a disaster. He didn't have really any control of the film, and it's kind of a mess, an interesting mess, because in the special features, what you find, all the directors that went through before it landed on Fincher, before there was all these different drafts, and they had these really interesting concepts of what the film could be, and it turned out it sort of morphed into this terrible movie that had interesting elements to it, but it just didn't work in the end. It's 11, and the disc 6 has 11 new in-depth featurettes. It's got a, what does that say? EEV scan, multi-angle study, storyboards, still galleries, and much more. And then it has the fourth in the series, Alien Resurrection, 1997 theatrical version with audio commentary, a 2003 special edition with audio commentary. This one was directed by Jean Pierre Junot. He directed Amelie. He also directed Delicatessen. I've heard Delicatessen is a pretty good, interesting movie. I haven't seen it. And he also directed a movie that I wasn't too fond of called City of Lost Children. Disc 8, 12 new in-depth featurettes, first draft screenplay by Joss Whedon, and a multi-angle rehearsal, still galleries, and much more. And then the last one is Alien Quadrilogy, Disc 9. New Alien Evolution documentary, exclusive new Ridley Scott Q&A, and Laserdisc archives, DVD-ROM content, and much more. So that's basically what the text says on the that's which movie is this? I'm trying to remember. I think that's Aliens. I'm not. And then you have that one. I think that's Resurrection right there. That. This. Trying to recall which one that is. Oh, I think that's Aliens. Anyways. As you might have have noted from what I've said in previous videos, you see Ripley right there, Sigourney Weaver right there. I'm not lighting this right. Wait a minute. There she is right there. I said in this video, I said Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead are two of my favorite horror movies of all time. But I also like. Oh wait a minute, did I show that? That's Newt right there from Aliens. What I said Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead. I said The Shining when I showed my Kubrick box set. Those are three of my favorite horror movies of all time. If I had to pick one, it'd be The Shining. But I also include Alien as one of my favorite horror movies of all time. So technically, I have four top horror movies. I have other ones too, but I mean, those are really the greatest in my opinion. Or, I mean, they're the cream of the crop. There's some other great horror movies out there. Eraserhead is another one of my favorite movies. I don't know if some people consider that a horror movie or not, and we'll get to that when we reach the towers. I have some David Lynch to show. I have some David Lynch in the bookcases. David Lynch, I'm sort of I either like it or I don't like it. I'm sort of polarized in some of his films. I think I'm in that way towards Godard as well, and I think I mentioned that when I showed you Godard. So I guess this has pretty in-depth information here: production, post-production. Yeah, it's got a lot of stuff on here that comes with these movies. Yeah. And there's a letter from Ridley Scott there. And speaking of Ridley Scott, I have the Blade Runner box set. I think that's been shown to death on YouTube. I will show it just because it's part of my collection, but I might not get into too much detail on it. Yeah, see, these are like what you'll see on the disc. All that text was, they'll tell you what's on the disc. So they have this in Blu-ray now. So, I like this box set. It's pretty interesting, but I don't think Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection are great films by any standard, but I enjoy this box set, And then the last box set I'll show, another set of horror movies. This is Nightmare on Elm Street collection, the originals. I know there's a new Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't think it has what's his name, Robert Englund in it. And Wes Craven died, I think a few years ago, or maybe last year. I can't remember when. It's a nice box set. It's embossed. See, it's embossed. It's embossed on the other side too. As far as these films go, I like the first one a lot. I like the third one parts. I like some of the scenes in the third one, and I like the last one, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I think that's a really interesting, novel way to take the franchise. The other movies I'm not too hot on. Like Freddy's Dead, I think I don't really like that one that much. But if you want to see evolution of a horror franchise and see what how things develop, you might find this interesting. So it comes with this booklet, and I think it's kind of an interesting movie. Franchise. I would say that's a cool shot. I like that. I would say that these are better than the Friday the 13th ones, in my opinion. I am. I don't know if I watch a ton of horror movies. I like foreign cinema a lot, like I said. But, horror movies, when they're done right, they can be very good. It just seems like today's horror movies, because especially people that have seen so many movies or lots of horror movies, even after seeing so many of them, it becomes old hat. You know that something's around the corner because you've seen so many films, where you anticipate those sorts of things because the writing's on the wall. Everything becomes a cliche after a while and boring, and sometimes being suggestive rather than graphic can work wonders. That doesn't mean that you can't be graphic. I think you can make a very good graphic horror movie. Texas Chainsaw Massacre would be one of those. But you can also be very subtle. Like Rosemary's Baby, or that movie that I'm going to show you at some point. I showed it to you, I think, in an earlier video, like in pickups of videos I picked up. It's a film called The Witch. It came out a few years ago, and it's about, well, I shouldn't really get into it, but it's very suggestive. That's the point I'm trying to get across. So, see, most popular cinematic maniac since Darth Vader, Newsweek. So, anyways, probably everybody knows what the first Nightmare on Elm Street is about. Third one, Dream Warriors, people, these special people fighting Freddy. The last one has an interesting concept because it has Wes Craven and it has the world of the actual actors, not the characters, but the actors playing them. And then sort of Freddy sort of comes into that atmosphere. He breaks through, for lack of a better word, the fourth dimension or whatever, and intrudes into the actual reality of Wes Craven and Heather Langenkamp or whatever. Her, the woman that played, I don't remember her name in the movie. What was her name? Well, what was the character's name? I don't know. One of these films is a 3D film, so you get 3D glasses, which to me it seems like a novelty more than I don't know. But it's really nicely packaged. There's a nice design to it. Nice artwork here. Nancy, that's what her name is. Yeah, that's right. It says in the back there. And then you have the second one, Freddy's Revenge. And you have the third, which is Dream Warriors, which has some interesting visual parts to it. Fourth one, the Dream Master. And the Dream Child. And then you have Freddy's Dead, which is probably the worst one in the series. I haven't watched these in quite some time. I probably wouldn't watch like Freddy's Dead over again. It just doesn't work. And this one's pretty good. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And then you have a special features disc. Nightmare Series Collection. Encyclopedia, rather. So, documentary about the Nightmare on Elm Street, and weaves through the interactive environment, unlock the mysteries of the franchise, and yeah, it's got a DVD-ROM to it. Of course, I don't know how many people use DVD-ROMs anymore, but whatever. Anyways, that takes care of that. So next up, I think I'm going to do Showa, and sorry about moving my arm back and forth and putting stuff back on the top of the box set. So the next video is going to be Showa, I'm thinking, and I'm going to just leave it at that with I think that will be episode 22, I think we'll be up to. Showa sort of, I think, deserves to be separate from everything else. It's a documentary about the Holocaust, and I think it deserves its own niche, it's its own place. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.